Donald Merritt was born in 1927 on the brink of the Great Depression in Detroit, Michigan, to a middle-class suit salesman. The Great Depression was an example of the world's economy decline that began after the fall of the stock prices on September 4, 1929, and the stock market crash of October 29, 1929, known as Black Tuesday. Growing up, Don would go on his daily newspaper route in grade school to make any money he could to help support his family. He was fascinated with the church when he was young, and he would altar serve at church at a Jesuit school a few days a week, journeying through the snow and harsh conditions of Detroit. Don was always interested with the world's problems and would listen to his radio all the time. Don's favorite toy growing up was his radio, and he would listen to music by Glenn Miller and the Lone Ranger, a fictional masked former Texas Ranger who fought injustice in the American Old West with his Native American friend, and became an enduring icon of American culture during the 1930s. Also, he remembered the first involvement of the United States in World War II, when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. As a result of the United States' involvement in the war, in 1945, at the age of 18, he was drafted into the army and sent to Berlin, Germany. He was a sergeant in the closing stages of the war and was on duty so no more disputes broke out. The Germans had been defeated by the Allies, and they were forced to unconditionally surrender. The terms of the surrender included the Allied powers, the United States, Great Britain, and France, asserted complete governmental authority over the territory of the German Reich, having abolished the German government of Adolf Hitler. The powers divided Germany into 4 occupational zones for administrative purposes. This division was ratified at the Potsdam Conference. In the fall of 1944, the United States, Britain, France, and the Soviet Union had agreed on the zones of the London Protocol. The powers detached the German Eastern Territories. East Germany would be awarded to the Soviet Union, and Western Germany was split among the United States, France, and Great Britain. After 2 years in Germany, he came back to the U.S. and proceeded to go back to school. This was possible under the GI Bill, or the Servicemen's Readjustment Act, which was a law that provided a range of benefits for returning World War II veterans. Benefits included low-cost mortgages, low-interest loans to start a business, cash payments of tuition, and living expenses to attend college, and high school or vocational education. He attended the University of Detroit close to home. After college, he got his first job with Mobil, which forced him to relocate to North Carolina. After a 3-year stint with Mobil, he took a job with American Motors Corporation, or AMC, which was an up-and-coming car business. AMC was an American automobile company formed by the 1954 merger of Nash Kelvinator Corporation and Hudson Motor Company. At the time, it was the largest corporate merger in U.S. history. The car business was an important necessity of everyday life, starting around the 1950s. People started to travel for their jobs more, along with the growth of suburban living, white flight, and highway systems. Cars were also aided by the end of the Depression in World War II, when the stock market rebooted and the industrial demand rose. Donald married Coletta Timpey, the daughter of the VP of AMC, Jack Timpey. He was living in Detroit when they got married, and they bought a house close to where they grew up. Coletta was also born and raised in Detroit. They had their first 2 of 4 children in Detroit before relocating to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They lived there for 2 years and then had to relocate to Atlanta, Georgia, where their 3rd son, James, was born in 1962. 3 years later, they moved to St. Louis, Missouri, and their daughter and my mother, Nancy, was born in 1966. They then had to move to Florida and relocated twice over 4 years while there. Their last move was to Orange County in 1972. Don became the Western Regional Sales Manager. His job required frequent travel to the western United States and even Alaska. He traveled to Detroit almost monthly since AMC's headquarters was located there. Don's success afforded my mother, Nancy, to get an education and pursue a career in medicine. She always had an interest in the heart, cardiology. Since her career began, she has worked hard with cardiac patients and still does today. She has seen tremendous advancements evolve over the past 25 years in cardiac medicine. Dr. DeBakey developed and implanted the first artificial heart in 1970. It was a large machine that you were attached to in the hospital and were not allowed to walk or go home with it. My mom remembers one instance when an elderly man needed emergency surgery, and he was on the brink of death. He was in surgery for several hours and survived, and needed to stay in the hospital for almost 2 weeks. Unlike heart treatments in the past, she said, heart procedures and transplants only allow 5 to 7 days today in hospitals across the country. I give a special thank you to my parents, my uncle John Merritt, and my grandma Joyce Merritt for helping contribute information to this project. Without their help, this project would have never happened. It was hard for my family to recover from Donald's death in 2002 because he was such a great man and cared about everyone dearly. He is truly missed, and I dedicate this project on his behalf. Thanks very much for watching.
Into